I found my unfaithful Linda at a secluded resort. My Linda totally didn't see it coming when I handed her the divorce papers right there in the hotel lobby. Hey folks, hope you're all doing awesome. I'm typing this on my phone, so sorry for any typos. It's a bit of a long and messy story. I'm at my wit's end with this issue and feel like I've exhausted all my options. Here's a bit of context. I'm 41 and my significant other is 37. We've been married for 11 years and have 2 kids, an 8-year-old son and an 11-year-old daughter. Initially, our marriage had its fair share of ups and downs, but we navigated through those challenging times and emerged transformed. We tied the knot when we were pretty young, so we weren't fully mature at that point. Still, we were certain of our love for one another and felt we could tackle any obstacle that came our way in our marriage. It's still up in the air whether this was just wishful thinking. I've been in engineering for 7 years, and my Linda has spent 3 years as a manager at a major advertising agency. Our jobs provide a solid income and have allowed our family to enjoy a pretty comfortable lifestyle. We were a pretty tight-knit family. As parents, we always aimed to help our kids build amazing memories. No matter how hectic life got, we always made sure to carve out time for our kids. Honestly, I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job as a husband and dad. I definitely had my moments of messing things up with my Linda. Honestly, I put my all into this relationship, and finding out she was involved in a long-term affair hit me harder than I ever expected. This brings me to the big realization. My Linda seemed really distant lately. Honestly, the 2 years before this one were the hardest. It felt like no matter what I did, she just wasn't into it at all. Got it. I understand now. She kept going on about how her boss dealt with things, always comparing me to her employer. I just can't seem to figure out what she's thinking. She can totally ask her supervisor, though. Help her feel special and let her take the lead when it comes to planning dates. Her boss does that for his Linda, too. What caused my level of immaturity to be so intense? I'm curious about what she envisions for bringing some excitement back into our marriage. Her typical reply was, "Don't ask, you should already be aware and just handle it." I had no clue, so I dove into research and grabbed every book I could find, It needs to be someone else's take on it. No matter what I did, it was met with either lukewarm appreciation or outright frustration. Throughout the time I've known her, my Linda has never acted this way, which made me realize that I needed to tackle my shortcomings in making her happy. I had no idea that someone else was handling all the repairs the whole time. We had a pretty tight bond with her boss and his spouse. They also have kids. The kids totally loved each other. We took them along on our family outings to the park, barbecues, and arcade gaming days. We've been to their place a bunch of times, and they've come over to ours quite a few times too. It's not really a shock that we ended up getting close. So I mentioned our marriage problems to her boss, and he totally dropped some solid advice. He appeared to be quite an impressive individual. Let's get back to the discovery, shall we? The pressure from my Linda to improve myself in our marriage has really drained me emotionally. Her attitude totally caught me off guard because I honestly thought our marriage was going great until now. She was totally immersed in her own little world, giggling and having a blast one night while chatting with someone. I found myself lying next to her in bed, feeling a sense of curiosity. She totally shoved me away the moment I leaned in to take a peek. She immediately demanded to know what I was up to, clearly angry. She left for the restroom after I asked her about the joke, insisting it was none of my business. That was the moment I understood, on a deeper level, that something was definitely going on behind the scenes. Even I didn't have any proof either. The following day, I approached her directly, which turned out to be a misstep. She was furious and insisted she felt no remorse. I was desperate for the truth, even though I couldn't get my hands on her phone. She totally hesitated when I asked for her phone. She finally passed me the phone, but it was clear she was unsure about it, and it didn't happen until later in the evening. She wiped out nearly all the messages she had sent to certain people. I noticed that some of the exchanges were clearly contradictory, while others just seemed completely ridiculous. I gave the phone back to her, and we didn't bring it up again until a month later when I had a friend look at the phone and recover the deleted texts. My Linda got another phone earlier and barely used the one she gave me. So I stumbled upon some books, and through a series of clues, I finally uncovered proof of an affair happening. Looks like you've got it all sorted out with her supervisor. I held off because I was sure she'd find a way to weasel out of it if I confronted her right then and there. Honestly, I was a total mess as well. All I could think about was the effect it would have on the kids. The situation was absolutely awful. I ended up tearing up in front of my friend. 3 days later, I decided to order a book on how to help your spouse heal from an affair, still holding on to the hope of saving the marriage. If you're shaking your head, that's totally fine. I started reading, thinking that if I shared it with my Linda, she would put an end to this nonsense. I really wanted to save the marriage and have my Linda back in my life. She mentioned there was an emergency at work and advised me not to wait for her, so I planned to reach out that Saturday to clear things up. I definitely reached out to the office on that day to check the story she gave me, but I didn't get any reply. Saturdays are a no-go. I reached out to her phone, but there was no answer. So, on Sunday at about 1 a.m., she got back home, jumped in the shower immediately, and then hit the hay. When I asked her about why she was late, she totally dodged the question and said she had already told me not to wait for her. I was done with this. I accidentally left her the book I bought. She was totally indifferent. I was in pain. She was totally indifferent when she saw me suffering. I decided to ask the boss's Linda if she had any insights on the matter. I don't regret it at all. I was just really craving some stability. Her reaction was just as surprising to her as it was to me. She was eager to confront her husband, but I suggested that he would probably just spin a story and try to hide the truth, just like my Linda did. We met up at her place to discuss what was going on, and I gave her the scanned evidence we had. She wanted more evidence, so we both decided to gather information from our sides and then compare what we found. I've been keeping a closer eye on my Linda lately, and it seems like she's doing the same with her husband. She stumbled upon solid proof without much hassle on her side. Her husband was so full of himself that he didn't even bother to delete the texts on his phone with my Linda. The little notes I found earlier finally clicked, and we now realized that the affair had lasted 2 years. I was furious, just like the employer's Linda was. I was just as eager for revenge against them as she was. They crashed wherever they could, her place, my place, swanky hotels, on work trips. That was a real stomach turner. They even sent each other pictures. But we chose to ignore them because we didn't want to hurt ourselves by looking at them. While we weren't involved in any affair, we definitely wanted to get back at them. We both agreed that they were free to pursue each other if that's what they wanted. Around that same time, we both started collecting our divorce documents. We were totally committed to it. We played our role. Our partners had no clue about what we were aware of. Our ducks are finally lined up again, just like before. This time, collaborating with the boss's Linda, we had a clear understanding of where and how they would be welcomed. We were aware of the inn they booked for their fun weekend getaway. I went there with the sheriff. I hung out in the lobby while the sheriff took care of everything. My Linda was summoned to come down from her room. She came down in a bathrobe, and honestly, I can't help but worry that she's not wearing anything underneath. She was freaking out and demanded to know what I was doing in there. It wasn't exactly far, but it was still a bit of a trek from our place. The sheriff was looking to verify her name and details. She gave a vague yes and was served. It was pretty satisfying to see her shocked reaction, but I decided to walk away, feeling like I had accomplished what I set out to do without dragging it into a conversation. She grabbed my arm, pulled me back, and demanded to know what this was all about, not letting me go. I found out about your affair, so I'm out of here. Plain and simple. She started yelling at me and then took hold of my arm tightly. The sheriff stepped in and told her to let me go right away. She said she could clarify things, that I was misunderstanding and that it was on me. She began to tear up. I bolted home because I was getting really worked up. When my Linda mentioned it to her boss, he totally freaked out. So I heard that he rushed back home, only to discover he was served. We didn't give them a moment to get their act together. We totally caught them off guard, just like they did to us. Her situation might drag on a bit longer, but my divorce is set to wrap up in a few months. In the situation with the divorces, my Linda and her supervisor have been putting up quite a fight against us. Neither of us is looking to file for divorce. I've come across a few explanations. They claim they never intended to leave their partners, that it was just a physical fling and nothing deeper, that others have made bigger mistakes and still ended up with great relationships, and that they regret their actions and want an opportunity to fix things. I turned to my Linda and asked, "What do you think will come of all this?" She mentioned that she's not that person anymore and claims she was just going with the flow, acting completely out of character. She's such an idiot, I told her. People around me are calling me terrible for not giving my Linda another chance. Even though they might wish for us to stay together, my kids are aware of the situation in a way that's suitable for their ages, and they fully support me. We're still living in the same place, and honestly, my determination is fading, especially since my Linda is diving into the book I got her and going to therapy. It's getting harder to stick to my principles. She says she's sorry and promises to do whatever it takes. What I really want to know is if she's genuinely remorseful or just upset about being found out. She's called me a bitter, angry person who can't seem to move beyond all the negativity. Eventually, she says sorry for it, but I can tell that's her true feeling. I still chat with the boss's Linda, and my Linda absolutely hates it. She thinks the boss's Linda is why I won't consider giving us another shot, or that I'm planning some sort of revenge fling. Just like she did with her boss, she's been adamant that I shouldn't reach out to the boss's Linda at all. She's totally out there, I told her. We didn't break any rules, so why should I consider her perspective now? I think I've wrapped things up. I have zero respect for her. She's definitely not backing down and is engaging with me about her thoughts and plans regarding the situation. I see them as excuses, so I just tune her out. She wants me to go with her to therapy. I was like, no way, because I've seen so many times where the therapist just puts the blame on the victim. She's asking me to dive into some books about infidelity together. If we're probably heading for a divorce in any way, what's the point of this? She has a narrow perspective. I made it clear that she couldn't manipulate me with sex. She claims that her intentions are purely to express her love for me, insisting that it's not about manipulation. I replied, actually, you mean love me now. Those close to me, including my mom, seem pretty frustrated with me because they think mistakes are just part of life. My Linda, on the other hand, learns from her missteps and shows me how much she truly cares. I made it clear to everyone that I would never settle for being a second choice. I feel so guilty about how I treat her. Even with all the hate, my feelings for her remain strong. Am I being too harsh on her? She's putting in a lot of effort, but I'm just not feeling it. Should I revisit the divorce? Some folks think I ought to take it easy. I'm definitely going to regret this. I'm rushing things way too much. Totally, that's spot on. I'm just confused about what's real and what's not. Edit, thanks to everyone for taking the time to help me out with my situation. I've gone through all your comments, and I see that many of you are bringing up some really important points. I'm about to have a chat with my Linda. I'll keep you updated, but honestly, I think divorce is the right move for both my kids and me. Getting insights from this place has been really helpful. Here's the latest on the story. Hey everyone, I'm here again. I'm giving this another shot because I've been getting emails asking for an update. Thanks for looking out, everyone. I'd like to clarify a few things since I can tell you're interested. Honestly, my Linda and I are in a pretty good place at the moment. Just to be clear, this isn't about us getting back together. I'm still going through with the divorce. The Automod removed my last update, which provided a detailed account of our situation. So here's the deal. My Linda is still craving another chance and is doing what she can to make it happen. I can't give it to her. The affair lasted way too long for me to move on. If it had just been a one-night stand, maybe the story would have played out differently. But 2 years feels like a real slap in the face. I still care about her, and I'm not a bad person, so I've gone to a few counseling meetings with her. One session was honestly eye-opening and made it clear that my Linda truly feels remorse about it. She's been putting in a solid effort, but let's be real, she hasn't exactly nailed it in handling the fallout from her affair. Her frustration with me for repeatedly reaching out to the boss's Linda, combined with her anxiety about a potential revenge affair, turned the second session into a total disaster. We had a ton of arguments afterward because I wouldn't comply with her request to cut off communication with the boss's Linda. It was honestly the most furious I had been throughout this entire ordeal. That was resolved once I promised her there wouldn't be any kind of revenge hookup. Even though I have no obligations, she remains my Linda until the divorce is finalized. So I still feel compelled to honor my commitments. I've been checking out a few more meetings with her just to see how she's progressing. This therapist specializes in both individual and marriage counseling. I'm skipping these meetings because, honestly, I really want to work on saving our marriage. I wish I could be there to see my Linda's growth firsthand and lend a hand if she needs it. I'm going to take a step back after the divorce. The Linda of the boss is still leaving her husband. Her husband is still fighting her on the divorce. She's just as strong as I am. And I have to admit, we definitely have our off days together. We just keep it polite between us. I still don't see any affair happening. She is a strong, independent woman who doesn't need anyone. At the moment, my kids are doing well. They get that our love for them doesn't fade just because we're going through a divorce. Even though they advise against divorce, they understand why it makes sense for our generation. My Linda is working at a different place now instead of the advertising company. She left not long after I dropped by. She insists that she has had zero contact with her former supervisor. She took that advice to heart and reached out for help on discussion boards about saving her marriage. Watching my Linda put in so much effort to improve herself has really opened my eyes. I get it now, even if I didn't at first, why some choose to stick around despite infidelity. She's not a bad person. She's just a person who has made some bad choices, but she's on a journey of growth and learning from them. She's offered me every possible chance to try again. I'm not convinced I can handle it either. I'm finding a sense of calm as the final divorce approaches. She recently pleaded for another shot after the divorce, and we had a deep discussion about it. She's put out a post-nup offer. While I wasn't completely opposed to the idea, it would definitely be a pretty lengthy journey for her to take before I'd even think about it as a possibility. She definitely has a lot of enthusiasm, but to be real, I'm not sure how that would benefit any of us. Fueled by a fleeting sense of fairness, I'm set on pursuing this divorce. I'm not willing to stoop to that level, but this is the only way I can find any sense of justice. After I shared more details about my Linda's affair, my mother and I reconciled. Today, she's pretty upset with my Linda after discovering the details. I'm kind of at a loss on how to approach negotiating one. Vent. Revenge affair? Okay, I was planning to hold off on posting until my divorce was wrapped up, but I'm feeling super frustrated and just need to vent right now. Just like a lot of you, my Linda is really anxious about the possibility of a revenge affair. Honestly, I still reach out to and meet up with the other woman I let down. My Linda has been feeling a bit insecure when it comes to the other partner. Is that really the correct spelling? The other partner, younger and a model, is quite beautiful and runs a successful company, yet has been deceived. My Linda gets suspicious that I might give in to temptation and cheat on her. It's honestly mind-blowing that she had the audacity to give me a lecture about how two wrongs don't make a right. She's definitely got a point, and I have no plans to go through with it. Honestly, her hypocrisy really gets under my skin. It seems that every time I go to see the other betrayed husband, my Linda gets a bit down or overly attached. She's made it pretty clear that she's all in, trying to keep me from straying, but honestly, I've lost count of how many times she's done it. Her attempts are rejected, which only makes the situation worse. The duped are left to pick up the shattered remnants of their lives, while the deceitful only focus on their own self-serving pain. Plus, our kids still get to see their kids. Even though I never approached the James without my kids, my Linda still thinks I could be just as ruthless as she was and looks for every opportunity to go after the woman. Absolutely ridiculous, what the heck? OM is still hanging out at their beach cabin and is pleading with the James to come back. I won't sugarcoat it. Watching him face the consequences brings me a lot of joy. Considering how much leverage I have over him, he hasn't attempted to threaten me. He's dealing with my constant chats with his Linda. He always times his visits so that I'm not there. He can see his kids whenever he likes, but he clearly prefers to avoid me. Honestly, I feel sorry for the guy. My Linda has been super apologetic lately. She showers me with affection, but I just brush it off. I'm feeling pretty down right now. It's time for our therapy session today. I just want to let go of all the pain and struggles I've experienced because of her. I'm at a point where my anger is just too much to handle. Hey everyone, just popping in with an update. Nothing particularly new to share with you all. Just a handful of things have changed, really. Looking back at my chats and posts really opened my eyes to how amazing this place is for supporting folks just like us. I've been diving into a ton of content about infidelity to gain a clearer perspective on my situation. During a recent therapy session with my Linda, she requested that I allow her some extra time to win me back. She laid out a bunch of reasons why it might be worth my time to at least give it a shot and see if I could help in mending our marriage, though we weren't quite at the reconciliation stage yet. I kept pointing out that her main motivation was the consequences of her affair. If she still had feelings for she wouldn't even be putting in the effort. For months, I was subjected to emotional mistreatment by her. I refused to let anyone, not even the woman I loved, walk all over me. She took full responsibility for her mistakes and offered another apology. She keeps saying she's going to make it up to me in a big way. She's convinced it can happen and is determined to make our marriage stronger than ever before. With an abundance to give, I inquired if she was prepared to endure my fury. She was totally on board. She wants me to unload my feelings on her whenever I need to, as a way to help me deal with the grief. Typically, I had a ton of reasons when I asked her about why she cheated. She came clean this time, admitting there was no excuse for her actions. She promised to spend every day from now on showing me through her behavior that she truly regrets what happened and that she would never hurt me like that again. She really unloaded her feelings on me, and it made me see that she was quite insecure about herself and jealous of the other partner who was betrayed. Her ego soared to new heights after the affair. She thrived on the feeling of being beautiful and desired. She totally knew she couldn't handle it and openly confessed that the whole thing was definitely just a dream. She thought about the consequences occasionally, but for the most part, they barely crossed her mind. She feels a deep sense of regret over the affair and insists that this guilt will haunt her for the rest of her days. She probably won't ever let herself off the hook. She told me she could never compare to the other betrayed spouse, and the reason she was convinced I would cheat again was that the other betrayed spouse is not only stunning, but also a woman of integrity. The other partner has never once threatened her or acted unkindly in any way. It was entirely my Linda's anxieties and perhaps the reality that I was really angry with her for betraying me. This place just keeps getting more interesting. The therapist wanted to know what it would take for me to consider my Linda's proposal. I couldn't think of a single thing. Given that my current situation feels like a sham of a marriage that I never agreed to, I decided to be upfront and told her, a time machine. She told me that every marriage faces challenges, from loss to infidelity. The way those challenges are tackled shows just how strong a marriage can be. I told the therapist to focus on my Linda instead of us because I honestly couldn't wrap my head around where this conversation was going. The therapist pointed out that my struggle to focus on logical arguments might be a communication problem. I totally went along with it. No arguments here. On the way back, my Linda and I ended up having a pretty lengthy chat. She wanted to know if her affair had left me feeling less of a man. Since she had never brought that up before, I was totally taken aback by the question. Absolutely, I replied. She caught me off guard by asking if being with another woman would improve my mood. I told her again that I'm not, and I will never be, the kind of lover who seeks revenge. She made it clear that she meant a trial separation where I would go and find my groove again. She's committed and will hold on until I'm fully prepared to come back to the marriage. At first, I thought she was just being desperate, but honestly, her idea was totally out there. I asked her how that would be beneficial in any way, considering it would allow both partners to have affairs. She told me it wouldn't be an affair since we'd be separated in a way that lets me date other people. She said we were getting a divorce anyway, so if this doesn't work out for us, at least I can check out what else is out there. I mentioned to her that it's quite a significant risk for her to take. It was totally unexpected for her to bring it up, so I had to turn down the suggestion without hesitation. Recently, my Linda has been unusually calm and composed. She's totally different from that wild, insecure person I used to be familiar with. Honestly, I really shouldn't rely on her for my own gain. It's definitely a tough one. She's been super accommodating during the divorce, even though it's not what she wants. I've come across a ton of stories about divorces getting really messy, even though that's not my situation. This situation feels pretty surreal, honestly. Negotiation can be pretty tough. Just to clarify, I'm definitely moving forward with the divorce. I'm really curious to hear what others think about this. Here I am making my return. Hey everyone! Here's another update on the unfortunate state of my life. I just want to take a moment to shout out to everyone who's been reaching out and showing their support before I dive into this. My Linda and I have made the call to be respectful and celebrate the holidays together as a family. Even though my Linda is still holding out hope, this will be the last holiday we ever celebrate. This was done for the sake of our kids. I have amazing kids who bring so much joy to my life. We're finally wrapping up the divorce process and it should be official by mid-February. For anyone curious, we've split everything down the middle, though she's definitely been more generous on her end. She could turn sour down the line, but for now, she's been great and says it's because I've been an awesome husband and dad. She thinks I deserve more than just a fair divorce given everything she's put me through. I'm still unsure if it's a technique or not. While I do end up with a bit more because of her, that doesn't mean she's going to take a huge hit from the divorce. I've decided to stop going to sessions with her. It was totally throwing her off and giving her unrealistic expectations. She mentioned that she really wants to be close to me all the time and that her affair made me feel less than and unwanted. She's been trying to get intimate with me pretty frequently, and I really mean frequently. Honestly, my Linda rarely initiated intimacy before all this, so I felt a bit hurt that she was doing it now. I started to appreciate her perspective, recognizing it as my own issue and her willingness to address it gradually. Even after I said no, she keeps insisting that this isn't about getting back together and that her only goal is to make me feel good and wanted. I've decided to cut off communication with the James because things were getting a bit too personal for my liking. I guess you weren't too far off when someone brought up that I was involved in a revenge fling. I had no idea until the other partner confessed she was interested in exploring how our relationship might evolve. She mentioned that she would hold off on starting anything until my divorce was finalized. We've decided to take a break from each other until things are sorted out, as I was feeling a bit confused and didn't have any answers for her. The second betrayed partner is an attractive woman, but I'm uncertain if I can get her to pull back her feelings. I'm honestly pretty lost on how to handle that. It was mentioned that her chances of reconciling with her husband might be affected by proximity to the James. I can assure you that none of my actions have anything to do with her decision to leave OM. She's over him, and that's the final word on it. When we're hanging out, we keep the conversation about our spouses positive. So OM came by to make amends for everything that went down recently. He was often pretty full of himself, so this experience really knocked him down a peg and helped him become more humble. His apologies just didn't vibe with me. While I wouldn't throw shade at what he's dealing with, you can call me petty if you want. Is it okay for me to be intimate with my Linda even though we're not on good terms? I have to say, I really miss the intimacy of sex. I really miss that sense of closeness and intimacy that came with it all. Just got some new lingerie and I'm all about the sexting, touching, and writing letters, you know? My Linda is super enthusiastic and has been doing everything she can to kick things off. And honestly, I sometimes struggle to say no. Honestly, I really didn't care about the specifics of where they had sex, so she went ahead and tossed, destroyed, and replaced everything related to OM at my place without me even asking her to. It's really tough for me to just turn off these feelings. Is this a reunion? Am I the one getting played here? I figured having her around would make things easier until the divorce is all wrapped up. Just so we're clear, I've already attempted to kick her out of the house, so don't even suggest it. Vent. Finally, it all makes sense to me. Even though she seemed completely unworthy, I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasted all this time on her. Still, she created amazing memories and brought forth children. As a guy, these things are etched in my memory and hold immense value for me. I'm definitely going to outshine her, and I've finally come to terms with the fact that I'm superior to her. I've been getting a ton of advice from everyone on how to deal with this situation. I've finally come to understand that I deserve so much more than what she offers. She flipped me around, pushed me aside, and made me feel inferior whenever another guy showed her some interest. She really poured everything into another guy. It's honestly surprising to me that I'm finally coming to terms with the fact that I've moved on from her. She finally puts in the effort to keep me around. She's putting her energy into us now. She didn't care before, but now she's all about making me happy. She's really into being this adventurous partner for me now. It wasn't the best, but I had a good time with our intimacy. I've finally got a clearer view of what I've overlooked. Her writings with OM only scratched the surface of the graphic nature of their encounters. Now, even though she used to take her time, she's eager to demonstrate just how deep her feelings for me run. The sluggish intimacy speaks volumes to me. In the past, it was all about showering her with attention and making sure her needs were met. Now she respects my space and is genuinely happy and supportive of everything I pursue. She now values my input and goes beyond it to contribute even more. She finally sees me as the king I always wanted her to see, but that's not the case. Initially, I needed to bring her down from her high horse. She's the ideal woman at this moment, but it feels fleeting to me. She's super transparent with me now, sharing everything in detail. She's really straightforward, even if it sometimes makes her feel a bit awkward or upset. I don't think I've ever encountered a woman who seems to wear a look of constant shame on her face. She regrets that this situation ever existed. She really gives herself a hard time every single day. When I just shut down and don't react to anything she does, I can totally see the desperation on her face. She puts on a brave face, but it's clear she's not feeling great. Sometimes I really can't stand myself, but honestly, I think it's part of the process. Why can't I see this as a positive? Why am I unable to call her out for what she did now? So they totally show some regret, huh? A lot of people have LTAs and emerge even stronger than they were before. Why am I choosing based more on emotions rather than a rational, objective perspective? As I dive into yet another questionable relationship, it seems like someone else will eventually get the improved and enhanced version of her. If it looks like things are heading in a good direction, why not go for it? These are the lines I've been given. I'm not going to put up with any disrespect. I might have been a bit too enthusiastic at the start of my research, but I've definitely come to my senses now. This is a response for those who have consistently inquired about my stance and reached out to me. This Christmas, I'm planning to be with my entire family before I make the decision to move away from my Linda. In order to keep my Linda's influence in check and completely detach from the idea of her, I've decided to stop entertaining the nonsense that runs through my mind. I'm not interested in giving this another try or pursuing a relationship with her. It's over. No turning back now. My Linda is definitely not the bad guy here, and that's just the reality of the situation. She deserves happiness, but it just won't be with me. She has definitely demonstrated that to me. When I found myself at my lowest point, I reached out to the other partner who felt the same betrayal and promised her dinner after the holidays as a thank you for her support. She said she would totally be into it. Even though it's not something you hear often, we really supported each other throughout this, and I definitely owe her a big thank you. I honestly had no idea until people began talking about how much I was planning this with OBS. For the last few years, my emotions have been so tangled that the thought of another woman never even entered my mind. So dinner it is. Unless we both really crave something else, that's all we're having. As the divorce gets nearer, I'm realizing just how many options I actually have. One alternative has been right in front of us. What's the deal with OM? I really don't have anything to add about that guy. Not a chance, seriously. I'll let any woman know since I don't think I'll be getting married again. Even though my divorce hasn't been super tough, I'm still watching a significant amount of money slip away. Honestly, the idea of marriage feels like a total scam these days. Sorry for being a bit cynical just now. Even though I've seen a lot, I hope this essay doesn't offend anyone. I came to understand just how little I received in return after dedicating my prime years to this woman. Happy holidays, folks. I'll be taking a break for a bit, so don't expect to see me around. Just wanted to share that I'm officially divorced now. It's been a while since I was waiting for this. I mentioned before that I'd be back for the final update. That's a wrap. So my ex and I are officially done for good. It went down about 3 weeks back, and for several days after, I felt like I was grieving the loss of someone dear to me. The way my marriage fell apart was pretty intense and hit me hard. Since I first discovered the affair, I haven't cried that intensely. I definitely hit a rough patch during that time. Everything's been arranged for my ex, mostly for the sake of the kids. She's gone from the house, and I'm trying to buy her share of it. She's living in an apartment now, which is a pretty significant downgrade for her, and honestly, it's just bringing her down. She continues to see her therapist and stays dedicated to exploring and understanding infidelity through reading and research. I'm not entirely certain about the reason. Despite the lack of physical contact, we've engaged in lengthy conversations both prior to and after the divorce. She's the mother of my kids, so even though I know I probably shouldn't be engaging with her at the moment, we need to be respectful co-parents. Thanks largely to this community and others, I approach the matter with pure logic. Yeah, it's totally the same song. She's looking to make amends, but I really think it would be risky for me to find myself in that situation again. I wish I had been in the right mindset to give her the gift. I had dinner with the other partner who feels let down this past weekend just for some company and to chat. We really explored a ton of topics. Things started to get a bit flirty between us, and I have to admit I was a little unsure about embracing the sudden change in vibe. The night wrapped up with some serious energy, that's for sure. Apologies for oversharing. Honestly, that was probably the best experience I've ever had. OBS really delivers, way better than my ex. Even though I didn't plan for it to escalate, the James was keen, and I was on board as well. Picked up some extra funny moves in the bedroom, haha. It was refreshing to finally experience someone who was more focused on my satisfaction than their own. She divorced her ex, so I suppose I shouldn't refer to her as the other betrayed spouse anymore. But for the sake of privacy, I'll stick with that term. Honestly, I just don't think we're going to take our relationship to the next level. That night, I guess the mix of hormones and alcohol really took over. I'm not entirely convinced that she's interested in that. I think she really helps me get my emotions in order. Honestly, I'm feeling pretty amazing right now. While this might not be the most popular opinion, the intimate experience I had with the James significantly boosted my self-esteem issues. Finally feeling alive, I realized what had been absent all along. I'm done with artificial intimacy for good. Realizing that I stayed true to my values and wasn't being dishonest really boosted my sense of fulfillment. Honestly, I'm pretty satisfied with the way I dealt with this whole situation. It's not perfect, but I gave it my all. Even though I took a significant financial hit, I feel like I'm coming out ahead compared to a lot of others in this situation. But it was because I was open to hearing from those who actually know what they're talking about, instead of just hoping for a miracle. I'll always be super grateful to you guys. Your support and the support of everyone who tuned in really helped me maintain my worth. Overview. Much respect to you. Seriously, don't put up with any disrespect from anyone, not even from those who are supposed to be closest to you. Everyone deserves to be in a fulfilling and joyful relationship. Always pass on your partner's leftovers. Every serious relationship ought to include a fulfilling and healthy sexual aspect. If your partner isn't fully committed to you but was with someone else, don't settle for that. You deserve their complete effort and dedication. Feel free to express your frustrations. I want to be clear that I do not support or condone rape or sexual abuse in any form. If your partner isn't on board with your needs, don't just accept boring intimacy unless you both come to that conclusion together. It's totally possible to just walk away from that without any issues. Engage, connect, engage. I can't stress enough how incredibly important that is. If you find yourself betrayed, it's ultimately up to you to find your way back. It took me quite a while to wrap my head around this. While that's what comes to mind right now, I'm sure there are plenty more ideas out there. I'll stick around to reply to your comments, but I'm wrapping up my blogging here for good and moving on with my life in just a few hours. Hope you all have a great day. At this moment, everything is going well. Here's the latest update. Hey everyone, I've been getting a ton of emails from people curious about how my situation is progressing. I still find myself getting triggered from time to time, so I've been intentionally steering clear of anything related to infidelity. With that in mind, I'm still navigating through the trauma. I'm doing my best not to get caught up in it, which is why I've taken a break from here and other places to focus on moving forward. Since so many folks are concerned about me, I thought I'd drop an update to put your minds at ease. I'm doing well, no issues, no disappearing act, just here and present. I'm currently in individual counseling, and my girlfriend is the other partner who was betrayed. When it comes to child custody and finances, she settled her situation with OM. She really could have approached that more rationally instead of being spiteful and trying to take him for everything he's got. The kids are definitely having some disagreements about all this, and we're doing our best to manage the situation. We need to get them into therapy so they can properly adjust and understand that their connection with the James doesn't really affect them that much. We definitely consider them when figuring out how to manage this situation. Not everyone is on the same page, so this is pretty challenging. Wow, my ex and my daughter really don't get along at all. This is serious, no joke. Whenever those two are close, things get tense. I'm pretty sure they both point fingers at each other for the way things ended up. My ex is still holding out for a second chance and probably feels hurt that the other person is getting in the way of me seeing things for what they are, making it hard to appreciate what we could have forever. This woman is seriously misguided, and her behavior is honestly worrying. She gave something a shot at a buddy's Independence Day bash. I shut it, but honestly, I guess it wasn't really strong enough. Honestly, you all were spot on. She really does want to come back, and I didn't think the people saying she'd be missing me were onto something. The other partner who was betrayed is allowing me to take care of that, but she's also starting to get tired of my ex as well. Have I brought up how much my ex absolutely despises the other person involved in this mess? Since I moved on with someone new, my ex has really been falling apart. Honestly, I really believe she was making progress. I gave her more care and respect than anyone else, yet she still treated me poorly, and I just can't wrap my head around it. But the moment I hit her with a FU, she suddenly does a complete 180 to catch my attention. I'm kind of torn about whether I should take offense to this. And there it is. Looks like it's time for everyone to chill out. I feel a lot of anxiety when it comes to my daughter. Hey folks, I'm a newcomer here, but I'm not unfamiliar with the platform. Honestly, I've been on the lookout for some good references to navigate my current situation. I'll lay it out for you all below, but you're welcome to check my history for more context. My ex Linda cheated on me. It lasted more than 1 year. During that time, my ex Linda frequently compared me to our OM and treated me quite poorly. Our sex life took a turn for the worse, and initially, I pointed fingers at my own shortcomings. There wasn't a clear plan for me to walk away after discovering the affair, but over time, it just unfolded. One weekend, she left to chill with OM and totally fibbed to me about it. I reached out to the other partner who felt the same way, and we teamed up to end things with our wives. The situation was disclosed to our kids in a way that was suitable for their age, framed as a conversation about how mommy didn't keep a promise to daddy. It's not about the details, just that we were going our separate ways while still holding a lot of love for each other. While they certainly didn't desire the divorce, which is totally understandable, they handled it as well as anyone could hope for. Even though my ex Linda has been pushing hard for us to get back together, I just wasn't in a place to give her that opportunity. I realized it wasn't about me, so I let go of the anger and decided it was time to move on from the relationship. The divorce got pricier as it neared the finish line, but thankfully the financial impact wasn't too harsh. I have to mention that the other partner who was betrayed and I started to develop a relationship right after the divorce. Initially, it was just a casual arrangement, but now it's evolved into something much more significant. If it weren't for the support we gave each other after everything went down, I would probably still be stuck with my cheating ex, or maybe I'd be in a really dark place, just saying. I always make sure to talk to my kids to see how they're coping with everything. I really aim to keep our conversations straightforward and genuine. If they have a problem with my relationship with the James, they can just say so. I wouldn't take it personally because I prefer to steer clear of any situations that might lead to issues later on. My 10-year-old is really into OBS. Considering she's 15, my daughter would prefer to take a bit more time to get used to the new situation. She claims she doesn't want to interfere with my relationship with the James and insists that she just wants me to be happy. I mentioned that I wanted her to find happiness as well, even if it's not really her role. If that's what she wants to say, I wouldn't care, especially if she favors the other person who was let down. She says she just needs some time and is cool with the other partner who feels betrayed. We've had quite a few discussions about solid partnerships with them. My daughter and I have had plenty of talks about her concerns and worries. So far, she seems pretty helpful to me. The other partner who was betrayed, along with my son, daughter, and her 2 daughters, are navigating our relationship carefully to avoid overwhelming the other engaged kids. It seems like everyone, including OM, is getting some therapy these days. However, that's a whole other topic altogether. This is definitely a unique situation, as you can see, which leads me back to my kid. The whole situation and the decisions made have definitely impacted her bond with her mom. She straight up says she can't stand her, claiming none of this would have gone down if it weren't for her. She's definitely pushing back against her mom. She brushes off her mom's attempts to show love, mopes when it's her turn to take care of her, and even lets out a curse at one point, prompting me to step in and remind her to be respectful, which she actually did in that moment. They had a heated argument, and I'm really concerned that my daughter is going through such a tough time. Even with her limitations, my ex Linda is doing her best to manage things on her own. Now that I've decided to go through with the divorce, she's asking for my assistance in mending her relationship with her child. It was her who was unfaithful. I could easily send her packing, I'm beyond that, but it really makes me rethink how I dealt with this situation. Things that are on my mind. My daughter shows no respect for her mother at all. My daughter is completely unaware of the way her mother treated her poorly. She wishes everything could return to how it used to be. Even though my daughter is undergoing treatment, I'm uncertain about how much it's actually helping her. She appears really weighed down, feeling like she has no say or power in the situation. She's been handling my relationship with the James really well, but I can't shake the feeling that she might be holding back her emotions. The divorce of their mother feels like it could have really impacted their lives negatively. Yeah, I'm definitely not going back to that toxic individual. I genuinely appreciate any tips or insights you might have. Hey everyone, just wanted to give you all an update since I know you are concerned. Hey everyone, I noticed your messages and requests. Apologies for the delay in my response. I'm not really around much these days, but I definitely know that some folks have been trying to check in on where I stand, and this update should ease any worries you might have. Just a heads up, this isn't a fairy tale ending. All right, let's address the big issue that's been hanging around. How are the James and I holding up? Honestly, that's incredible. If I had known she was out there years ago, I definitely would have pursued someone like her, haha. Seriously though, aside from her, I've never felt such a strong connection with any other woman. I really didn't know what a healthy relationship was supposed to be like, especially after everything my ex Linda put me through. Even with my lingering self-doubts, the other partner who was betrayed has been an amazing friend and has really had my back during this time. I'm really into this girl a lot. I totally get that vibe from her too, and she's consistently proven how much I matter to her over and over again. Just a girlfriend, nothing else. I've got some thoughts and questions swirling around the whole idea of marriage. We continue to handle matters privately and keep the kids out of the entire relationship dynamic. For sure, the kids totally know about our dating situation. Honestly, the kids had a tough beginning, no doubt about it. But at this moment, they are totally vibing with each other. I think it mostly has to do with how involved we were in their life and making sure they had someone to reach out to during tough times. There are a lot of therapies too. I really care about the other betrayed spouse, and my kids feel the same way. She engages with kids in a really effortless way. Her kids definitely seem to like me way more now compared to a couple of years back. To really catch me off guard, her youngest started telling people at events and gatherings that I'm her stepdad when I took her along. She told me she really loves me and that I make her mom happy, which means she's glad I'm her stepdad. I was worried she might feel pressured to see me like that. I can't even describe how overwhelmed I was when I found out. It hit me like a freight train out of nowhere, but I managed to keep my composure. Even though they acted like a tight-knit crew to relentlessly tease my son, the lone boy and the youngest of the group, I really love watching my kids happily mess around with OBS. Honestly, I'm torn between laughing and cringing at that. What's the deal with my unfaithful ex? We vibe pretty nicely. She's been putting in a ton of effort on her own to fix things with her daughter. I felt a sense of relief when my daughter told me she was able to forgive her mother for her actions. Throughout the years, they've faced numerous challenges and have really developed beautifully as a pair. Honestly, I'm not so sure my ex Linda has fully accepted the way we used to live as a couple. It looks like she's still hinting at wanting another shot at this. She continues to attend her individual counseling meetings and hits the gym regularly. She looks a lot healthier these days, but honestly, I couldn't care less. I've come to terms with what happened before. Her problem comes from not going along with the crowd. Now she's chatting more with the other partner who got hurt. The feeling is mutual, but the partner who was betrayed understandably views her with suspicion, considering everything that has transpired. OM is a cause that's totally lost its way. I really didn't see it coming. How much of a train wreck this guy would turn out to be, with all that cash and zero common sense. Right now, he's in a relationship, but his kids are not fans of her, and they're pretty straightforward about it. It took me a while to see just how wrapped up in himself that guy really was. Honestly, I'm not a fan of his girlfriend either. She really comes off as pretty harsh to the girls, all about the material things, and just plain selfish. Basically, we're doing way better than just okay. I was a bit skeptical about whether this was the right path, but seeing the dedication of everyone involved, it's turning out really well. It's not about the fairy tale ending. It's all about the moment we have right now. Totally, you've nailed it. Now everyone can chill out without a worry.